In this lesson, we're going to talk about how to do a peer review. And we could call it a peer review or a peer edit, but really the goal of reading one another's papers at this level is to do a bit more of a review. Years ago, I had a bunch of older students grade or do some editing for middle school students, and they missed a bunch of stuff and they made a lot of mistakes. And so we need to realize where we are personally in our grammar ability. But one thing that I found that students are really good at is reading an essay for the content. And maybe not all the grammar, maybe not all the sentence structure will be noticeable, but students have really good ideas about one another's papers with regards to content. So I want to lay out how I want you to how I want you to read one another's paper. So the first thing I want you to do is read the intro and the conclusion. And I want you to look at the intro. Does it have a hook? Does it have a clear thesis statement? And does it have a clear roadmap? When you get to the end of the paper, or not the end of the paper, the end of the introduction, do you know what the writer's specific topic is and what that writer's opinion is? When you get to the end of the introduction, do you know where that paper's headed? Do you know what subtopics will be covered? So you read the intro, and then I want you to read the conclusion. So in the conclusion, is there a good summary? Does the writer restate the thesis? And then do we have some parting thoughts that will cause us to continue to think about this topic that the writer put a lot of energy into writing? So that's one of the first things that I want you to do as a peer review. The next thing I want you to do is go ahead and read the whole paper for content and organization. So go ahead and read the whole paper. And I want you to look, so for content, that refers to what is the information that's added. So is there enough? Does it all tie together? Is there information that is included that shouldn't be included? Is there information that's missing? So read the whole paper for content. Then, as you're reading for content, I want you to keep in mind organization. So are each of the paragraphs, each of the subtopics, are they in the right order? So you're thinking order. And then I want you to think transitions. That's another aspect of organization. So does your writer help one idea flow to the next? And does it feel seamless, or does it feel really jerky? And could some smoother transitions be included? So in a sense, you're reading not for all the grammar and not all the mechanics. I want you to read for those content and organization and focus. And that's in the rubric that you'll get. That's the introduction and the conclusion and the thesis statement are part of the focus category or criteria. So let's say you've done all that and you think, this is a pretty good essay. I like this. I like that. Maybe something's missing. You should make comments. If something's great, you should let your writer know. we all need to be encouraged. And so if there's a part of the essay that you really like, if something doesn't seem to fit, you should let your writer know. And then when you've done this, you've looked at the introduction and conclusion, you've read the whole paper and looked at content and organization, then you can go to mechanics. And for mechanics, that would include grammar, sentence structure, etc. And if you think, I'm not very good at that, I really don't even want to touch that, then don't. But if that's something you're really good at, there might be ways that you can help your writer. And one thing that I will sometimes do, even if I don't know how to correct a sentence, you can put, let's say I've got a sentence here. Oh, you can't see it. That's far too low. If I've got a sentence, blah, 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 blah. I've got this sentence that I wrote. And you might read a sentence, you might think, I'm not sure what the writer meant. Put that sentence in brackets and you can write in the margin unclear. Because we've all done that, where we've written a sentence and we think it makes sense in our heads, but once we get those words out, maybe some words aren't in the right order, maybe it's missing a verb, maybe we've tried to put too much information and skipped using a few words. So if you come across a sentence that doesn't make sense, you don't need to try to fix it. Just put it in brackets and let the writer know that it's unclear. If you encounter words that you think, that's not the word you meant, and spell check is not always your best friend, you can give it the squiggly line. So maybe this is a spelling word and you can put SP, or something else that doesn't work, give it the little squiggly line, just like Word or Google Docs does. And actually, when I'm hand correcting essays, I give them a squiggly line. So when you're doing a peer review, be kind to one another and be thoughtful, and you're looking mostly for content, organization, introductions, conclusions, and the focus of the paper. So good luck in your peer reviewing.